Cloning began in the 1960s of small animals. However, they didn't think that it was possible to clone humans until they cloned the first mammal of a sheep in 1997. They believe that there is a possibility to clone humans, but there could be medical and moral issues with this. After the sheep has been cloned, they cloned many other animals such as cows and mice. A human cloning company called Clonaid, established by a religious movement group called Raylin, said that in December 2002 there was a cloned human baby that was born. After this, there was no other human cloning. So, the uses of cloning. Cloning would help to lower the time of creating a transgenic animal, and there would be more genetically identical animals to study. Also, they could use cloning to create stem cells that are genetically identical to an individual, and they could use it for medical reasons and for developing whole organs. It could also help researchers understand the disease and create treatments for them. In addition, it could save endangered or extinct species by creating more of them. Also, so they use livestock as a stock breeder. Farm animals are being genetically engineered to make drugs or proteins that is helpful for medicine. They could get cells from a cow that makes milk and put a gene into the DNA and put it into the cells that is for a drug or a vaccine. Once they take the nucleus from one of the cells, they could put it in a cow egg. So because every cell contains the drug gene in the body, it could pass it on to the offspring, which could eventually cause a group of cows that produces the drug. So now the prevalence of the use of cloning. Occasionally, it is argued that cloning lowers the genetic diversity. Natural twinning happens at an amount of 3.5 per 1,000 kids, and it does not have such a big impact on genetic diversity. We shouldn't believe the prevalence of cloning should increase more than the natural rate. An additional argument is that the uniqueness of clones would be lowered. The European Parliament said that cloning would violate a clone's charter rights to his or her own genetic identity. They do not oppose to the artificial increase in the prevalence of twinning through fertility treatment, and they don't do research in the prevention of natural twinning. Twins would have their own individual identities. Clones would not be different. So further research being done today. So in some cases, cloned animals have shown growth defects, and scientists are currently doing more research to understand why this is happening.
Cloning is a term used to describe many different processes that can be used to produce genetically identical copies of something. Cloning is a type of asexual reproduction. There are three types of artificial cloning: gene cloning, reproductive cloning, and therapeutic cloning. Gene cloning produces copies of genes or segments of DNA. Reproductive cloning produces copies of whole animals. Therapeutic cloning is what is used in treatment and could possibly grow another organ. In reproductive cloning, the researchers, who are the people doing the cloning, remove a mature somatic cell, such as a skin cell, from an animal they wish to copy. They then empty the DNA from an egg cell and put this animal's somatic cell in it. The pros of cloning. 1. In the medical field, cloning is used to find out about many genes that cause diseases. There's a process that involves cloning that is used to cure diseases. This process is called gene therapy. Cloning can possibly improve the quality of our everyday crops. It makes plants resistant to pests, diseases, and many other things. Same-sex couples can have children without the use of donor sperm or donated eggs. the men would only need to find a surrogate mother to carry the clone until birth. Endangered animals can be cloned to save the species. The cons of cloning. Cloning children could give people the impression that children can be designed and replicated to parents' wishes. 95% of animal cloning has ended in failure due to genetic defects, and cloning is considered unsafe because of it. Cloning will reduce the value of humans. We will no longer appreciate who we are because humans can be made so easily.